This Civic Media podcast is sponsored by UW Organ and Tissue Donation. Organ donations are desperately needed, and now is the right time to become an organ donor. Talk to your family. Get the dot. Save lives. Go to heroicdeed.com.
To face of my conscience, coming to an understanding of myself, clear out all the old cobwebs, clean out the old books from the shelf. Well, this song is inspired by a good man and his Jew, doing good for others, sing Amazing Grace to you, yeah. It doesn't really matter if you're all jumbled up inside, as long as you know that love is endless and the world is wide. As long as you know. Give it up. Share it out. Help who you can. Help who you can. Talk about it. Talk about it. It's late in the morning, close to the time, and Mary's in the alley. She never stops smiling. Always love to see her. She means a lot to me, but I know she's got a hard time trying to make it beat.
December 21st, 2024. If it's 7 o'clock on Saturday morning, it's time for This Week in Waukesha. I'm your host, Downtown Donnie Brown, and I'm coming to you live and local from the office of former Alderman Don Paul Brown here in my beloved Banting Park neighborhood. I'm joined by my producer, the mighty Max Martinson, down in the WAUK studios in Radio Park on Victory Avenue. Later on in the show, Max is going to give us a preview of his big project, Letters to Santa, that airs tomorrow morning. More on that later. And you may have heard this from me first, but late last night, the Congress approved a bill that will avoid the government shutdown. And no matter what your politics are, I think you have to feel good that nobody's going to be out of work, no government employees, no families will be denied, no communities will be denied important emergency services, and the things that help make our societies continue to not only survive but thrive. So I have some guests on today, as Jim Sentel says, ambitious but achievable agenda. First, we have Waukesha South varsity basketball coach Lee Montez on hold, ready to talk about the Blackshirt Cagers, who were victorious against crosstown rivals Waukesha West at West last night. I have school board candidate Sam D'Amico calling in later this hour. In the second hour, Triple G will provide the Carol Minute. And our very own Pete Schwaba from Lite will talk about new movies and shows out, as well as favorite Christmas movies. Plus a lot of news, sports, local culture. We'll be acting locally, thinking globally, remembering a fallen hero from the Elm Grove Police Department, and so much more. Max, is Coach Montez there?
I believe he is.
Sounds great. Coach Montez, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I'd ask how you're doing, but I imagine you're smiling ear to ear after is it a 62-59 victory? Or no, 52-49 victory over the Wolverines?
Yeah.
Got to be feeling good, huh?
Great game last night. Yeah,
cool.
It makes me feel good. Great game.
Sounds good. Who are the big heroes for the Blackshirts last night?
Well, we got some really, really good minutes from Tyson Teagues last night.
Nice.
I think he had 8 points, 8 rebounds last night for us.
That's huge.
And we had to play a little bigger last night because of West's height and length.
Sounds great. And, you know, Coach, I'm embarrassed to say I missed the game. I wanted to go, but I actually wanted to catch the college football playoffs and really didn't miss much. Unfortunately, the Hoosiers didn't show up, or maybe better yet, the Fighting Irish just came with a much better game there at home. But anyway, with your Blackshirts, you're now 3-2 in the Classic 8, 3-5 on the season. So how do you feel about your progress so far?
Conference-wise, I think we're doing really, really well. I believe the conference this year is going to be a little bit more balanced. Our non-conference schedule is going to be a little tougher this year. We're going to play some tough opponents on the road, but you know, with the 13, 14 kids we have, we're progressing nicely here.
Yeah, one thing I really enjoyed watching. I made it to the North game with my father-in-law, who promised you he would catch one or two games this year. To you, and
yes, I see him around and stuff.
Yeah. So, but even though North, you know, they've lost a lot to graduation, so they're not as tough as they were last year. What really impressed me was the way you guys move the ball around on offense, and the fact that I counted at least 4 players that scored over 10 points. So it was great to see, and some of those guys weren't starters either. And even another guy's coming off the bench, providing great productivity and points. And so it looks like a real team effort this year. And like other teams in the past or other teams you're playing, you're not just looking to 1 to 2 players.
Yeah, that's correct. You know, right now we have 3 kids averaging double digits for ourselves. And then, you know, we have 2 kids that are averaging, you know, 8 and 8.5 points. So we have a really good balanced scoring attack, and you know, and then we have some guys that, like you said, can come off the bench and, you know, put some points on the board for us.
Sure. And who are those 3 guys in the double-digit average category, so we can shout them out?
Yeah. So Zayas DeWalt is
the
averaging
general.
like 13 points. Yes, 13.7, nice. And then Giovanni Perea, he's averaging 13.5. And then Keegan
nice.
DeGeorge is averaging 10.5 points for us right now.
That's great. And I heard he scored 25 points the other night against Waterford. Was that right? Was it Waterford or another game?
Waterford, or I think it was against the Catholic Memorial. Catholic Memorial.
That's right, yeah. And that was a nail. I mean, you guys lost by 5 at CMH.
Yeah, we got off to a great start, and then you got to kind of credit CMH. They kind of clawed and fought their way back in, and it kind of went down to the last, you know, 2 minutes, and so we've been in some very competitive games this year, and
that's great.
Last night was another one. So
yeah, so yeah, now you're 2-0 against the Waukesha schools, not count the public schools anyway. So you're off to a good start, and hopefully running the table in the crosstown rivalries.
That would be nice. Yeah, that would be nice. I know our kids would enjoy that.
Sure. Let's talk about those other guys that are averaging 8 points a game, because that's also important productivity.
So Jordan Garcia, he's averaging 8.5 points. And then Joey Cost is averaging 8 points. And then, you know, we got Morgan Swartz, who's averaging like 5.5 for us.
That's great. I'd love to see Morgan back out there after his junior year was kind of cut short with an ankle injury. It was right around this time of year, too. So
Yeah,
it's good to see him back.
Yeah.
So, in some ways, I don't know if embarrassment of riches is a nice word, but it's got to be a good feeling for you as a coach that there's a lot of different guys you can look at for scoring, especially if the stronger players, like everyone knows Giovanni Perea, if they're being keyed on or double teamed, that you've got guys like Morgan Swartz, Joey Cost, Keegan DeGeorge, Jordan Garcia, and I'm sure there's one or two guys I haven't mentioned that can score for you and can make a difference. And, of course, Zayas DeWalt. So I'd also like to shout out Isaiah Crawford. I saw him coming off the bench against North and say he played great defense, great rebounding, and scoring off of offensive rebounds. And it's great to have big men that can do that, especially that deep into your bench.
Correct. Yes. I think it's important to try to find minutes for guys that usually don't get minutes.
Yeah.
And
and there's Luke Trendle and there's Gavin Karenko from across the street. And Luke lives here in my neighborhood. Those are guys that played great ball on JV, and they can also deliver quality minutes, points, great defense, all those things. So you really have a lot to look forward to, I think.
Yeah. I'm in a very good situation here. Our practices during the week are very competitive, and Luke and Gavin and, like you said, Isaiah are juniors this year, so they're kind of just learning how to be varsity players and the speed of the game and how quick it is.
Yeah, and you're off until game-wise until January 4th. So now you have a nice long break, but I imagine there'll be a lot of practices and a lot of that keeping that competitive rigor going.
Yeah, so actually today is our first day off. We're gonna have off now until Christmas, and then we'll be back after Christmas. Give the boys give them some rest, much needed rest here,
and well deserved. So, Coach Lee Montez, Waukesha South Blackshirts basketball coach in his second year. Thanks so much for joining us. Congrats on the big win over West, and looking forward to checking out some more games this season. Go Blackshirts.
Yes, thanks for having me.
You bet. And when we come back on This Week in Waukesha, we'll be acting locally, thinking globally. And Sam D'Amico, school board candidate, will be joining us later on this hour. And Max will be telling us about his big show tomorrow. Here on This Week in Waukesha on WAUK 540 AM and the Civic Media app.
Down Georgia Street,
You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey, we're back this week in Waukesha on WAUK 540 AM. And we don't have to wait for the sun to rise here on this beautiful Saturday morning, but always proud to honor Waukesha's favorite son, with one of my favorite songs, The World is Waiting for the Sunrise, with wife Mary Ford. And acting locally, thinking globally. During the holidays, it's always hard to lose, close to the holidays, a loved one, a neighbor, a friend, or an important member of the community. And I know for the Elm Grove community, it's been a tough week as on Tuesday, the 17th of this week, Elm Grove police officer John Krahn had passed away at the very young age of 57 due to complications tied to multiple surgeries he had to endure over the past decade and a half. And, of course, those were all tied to, many of you might remember, In 2009, he saved 2 people stuck in a vehicle as a train approached. And very few people, according to his family, knew of the difficulties he had endured, sacrificing his body and his career to save the lives of those 2 people that day. And I believe this was from the Waukesha Freeman, that from John's wife. He served with honor and distinction for 19 years, upholding the values of integrity, service, and protection within our community. Throughout his career, John made a lasting impact on the lives of those he served and the students he taught in the DARE program, always going above and beyond to make our community a safer place. That statement is actually from the Elm Grove Police Department. He was not just a colleague, but a friend to all who knew him, and his loss will be deeply felt by the entire department and community. Our thoughts are with his family, friends, and loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. And I never had the honor of meeting John Krahn, but I can certainly appreciate, as someone with family members in the police department, this profound loss to the community, and for his family, not having their husband, father, son, brother with them this year. But certainly someone, a great role model, a great hero that we in Waukesha County should be grateful to have had someone like this serve us. And, pauses us to reflect, during this holiday season, the importance of, what should we say, being community-centric, esprit de corps. And we honor these guys, like Officer John Krahn, by doing what we can for the community in the ways that we can, volunteering, doing the best in our work lives, our family lives, and being vigilant, looking out for our neighbors. And this week, I had some opportunities to see the community in action and the things that are important. Tuesday, I attended the cemetery commission meeting. I'm on the board there, and the cemetery is one of the jewels of our city. There's a lot of history that lives there. And one of the items that got approved was they did last fall a first annual 5K as a fundraiser for the Friends of the Prairie Home Cemetery. That was very successful in its first effort, and it got approved to run again for next year. And I know there was some pushback on, why have a run at a cemetery? And there was a fear of, graves, tombs being disrespected. But it was very well organized. They had professional event planners involved. But the important thing, too, is if you know the history of the Prairie Home Cemetery, it was a very center of community activity in many ways. Picnics used to be held there on Memorial Day. And it was very, very common for families to gather after church, their various congregations where they worship, to come and pay respects to their loved ones, and was actually very much a central meeting place. And the cemetery still does hay rides, which in warmer weather, of course, I highly recommend, because it really is a great snapshot of Waukesha history. Les Paul is buried there, I just mentioned. Governor Lee Dreyfus. So many other local people who impacted our history and our life here to the present day. After that, I went to a board meeting of the food pantry serving Waukesha County. And for regular listeners, you may recall last week I had Lindsey Johnson calling in to talk about a busy week she had that included a visit from Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez. And a great story was that Saturday, Myers had their fundraiser, and it was kind of a matching thing. I believe you put a donation in a kettle, similar to Salvation Army, and Myers would match that donation. And They got up to about somewhere in the neighborhood of like $450 to $500. And then someone went up to customer service, wrote a check to Myers to be cashed anonymously for $5,000 for this food pantry fundraiser. And Myers wasn't expecting a match that size, so they went to their corporate in Michigan to make sure they had approval, and corporate said, heck yes. If someone's going to make an anonymous individual donor is going to support the food pantry with such a generous donation, it's the very least that Myers can do. And so Myers matched it. And so what looked like a decent day with, $1,000 when you include the matching donation turned out to be $10,000. So many thanks to that anonymous donor, wherever you are. And special thanks to Myers for stepping up on that. And great place to go for Christmas shopping, not just groceries. And it's great to have a nice retail neighbor like that. And again, to go back to the food pantry, some numbers we mentioned last week. There are 34,100 households served this year, which represents a 106% increase since 2021. 30% of the clients, for lack of a better word, individuals, are children, and 10% are seniors. And so a great way, check the Waukesha Food Pantry website and see what the wish list is. And if there's food items you can donate, it certainly is greatly appreciated. So when we come back, the Mighty Max is going to tell us about the fruits of his labor, the big day tomorrow. Letters from Santa, airing on PBS. Sam DeMeek will be calling in, a school board candidate. And so much more to look forward here on this beautiful Saturday morning, December 21st. This week in Waukesha on WAUK 540 AM and the Civic Media app, where we are taking your calls this morning.
Dear one, the world is waiting for the sunrise. Every little rosebud is covered with dew, and my heart is calling for you, the thrush on high.
You're an organ donor, right? Well, here's a tragic fact. Approximately 20 people die each day waiting for precious donated organs. You could make a life-saving decision simply by getting that important dot on your driver's license. That little dot shows those who need to know that you've made a decision to donate organs at a critical time. Go to heroicdeed.com to learn more about the importance of organ donation and how you can make your wishes known. Talk to your family. Get the dot. Save lives. heroicdeed.com.
They got cars big as bars, they got rivers of gold, but the window's right through you, it's no place for the old. When you first took my hand on a cold Christmas Eve, you promised me Broadway was waiting for me. You were handsome,
You were pretty queen of New York City.
when the band finished playing, they held out for more. Sinatra was swinging, all the jokes they were singing. We kissed on the corner, then danced through the night. The boys of the NYPD choir were singing, Go Away Babe, and the bells were ringing out for Christmas Day.
Hey, we're back this week. Watch on WAUK 540 AM. If those regular listeners, they know what I believe. This is the greatest Christmas song of the 20th century, if not of all time. Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues with Kirsty MacColl. Highly recommend a full listen. And the non-politically correct version of it, the original. Very, very, not your typical Christmas song. Let's put it that way. So, but certainly tugs at my heartstrings in so many different ways. So, especially as I remember those loved and lost this Christmas season, including those who had passed away this Christmas season. So do we have, Max, is Sam on hold?
He is not.
He is not. Okay, so we'll wait. But before the break, I was talking about what a busy week I had and realized I only got as far as my second engagement on Tuesday after the board meeting for the food pantry serving Waukesha County. I finally made it over to Mia's for their Festivus party. Now, Mia's every year throws a kind of a holiday party with free food. A buffet table is set out at the bar, and it's got pasta and chicken and I think salad. And my wife made it over, but couldn't wait. My meeting took longer, so she had to go take care of some basketball duties involving our daughter, picking her up and whatnot. But I was able to go and have a libation or two. And it was neat to reconnect with old friends as well as meet some new ones, including one of the members from, they had a band in the dining room, played some good covers. Met a gentleman named Ian Ash, who serves as a trustee on the Les Paul Foundation. So I was really grateful to meet him. As many of you know, I have a vision for someday helping to start a Les Paul Guitar Town festival in Waukesha. And more on that. So I also got to connect with real estate mogul Antonio Sanchez, 2016 Waukesha South grad, and I believe 2020 University of Wisconsin grad, doing great things in the Big Apple and home for the holidays. So great to see him. And then I ran to my friends Henry and Uli from Sweet Dreams. And it's neat to see fellow restaurant bar owners connecting and building meaningful friendships. And of course, that's, talking about Bo Blask, owner of Mia's. We all shared a lot of laughs. I met Nikki, the bartender at the Q Club, who's been there a long time and is a favorite of many of the regular patrons there. And so it's nice to meet her. She was celebrating Festivus as well. They had a Festivus poll, but I don't believe there were airings of grievances or feats of strength, thankfully. So Bo said if he had feats of strength that the winner, if someone beat him, they would own the bar, or the restaurant, excuse me. But I did meet a gentleman named David, longtime Waukesha resident, who was one of the co-founders of the Waukesha Wings. And so that was pretty cool, knowing we've got some good family friends that have been in that program and gone on to do great things in their lives. And we had some great conversations about hockey and hockey history in Waukesha. Back when weather was more predictable, that many of the parks had ice rinks. And so that was pretty neat to talk Waukesha history with my new friend David. So hopefully we'll be hearing from him soon. So, and then on Thursday of this week, I was invited to attend as an observer. The county has what's called a criminal justice collaborating council, and it consists of judges, local leaders like Mayor Sean Riley represented the city of Waukesha, as well as local police. And normally Chief Daniel Thompson of Waukesha attends, but he was under the weather. So in his place was Assistant Chief Tom Wagner. And it was great to reconnect with Tom. Tom was the acting chief during the transition from Russell Jack's retirement to Daniel Thompson's eventual hire and placement. But it was during that time when I was on the council, we got to honor all the city council members had an opportunity to honor unsung heroes. And so I took this opportunity to honor Officer Josh, one of the heroes from, God, it seems like so long ago now, the shooting that took place on December 2nd, 2019. And Acting Chief Wagner was there for a presentation of the award, and it made a nice, turned out to be a nice media day. It was a great front page article in the Waukesha Freeman, and well deserved for Officer Josh, who's very highly regarded and loved by many of the Waukesha students and other community members that know him. So, but also, Assistant Chief Wagner is the father of KM football basketball star Drew Wagner, who graduated last year and walked on to Northwestern University for football, and had a much better year than I thought. My son showed me a video where he returned a punt against Iowa 55 yards for a touchdown at Kinnick Stadium. And so he, Assistant Chief Wagner had told me that just a day or two before that his son had met with the coaches at Northwestern, and they want him to stick around, and he's now going to have a full scholarship at Northwestern. So congrats to him and of course, to Assistant Chief Wagner. So and then following that meeting, how can I forget? One of the big highlights was serving on this council is District Attorney Sue Opper, who most of you know prosecuted the case against the attacker of the Waukesha Christmas Parade and handled that with a lot of dignity and grace, considering, we won't go too far into it, but Justice Jennifer Doro showed up briefly to honor Sue Opper because she's retiring, and gave her a really nice plaque and made a really nice presentation. And then after she left, many of the council members had also honored Sue Opper for her, I believe it's 30 years of service in criminal justice. So it was a very educational meeting. We learned a lot. I learned a lot, about some of the challenges that our courts have, the backlogs. There's been an increase in felonies. Expenses have tripled, and reimbursement has been cut in half, and there's a need for more interpreters. That need has grown from 10, like maybe 10 years ago, to 27, and sometimes they have to fly these interpreters in. So alternative interventions, mental health, all these things come into play. So it's great to see different stakeholders in the county come together and discuss issues and work out solutions. So after that, I was invited to the Waukesha Cafe as my first visit. It's right there on Wisconsin, kind of kitty corner from Cutler Park. And I was there. I was invited for coffee with County Supervisor Larry Nelson. It was a great time catching up. And it really is a nice place there. I didn't realize they have parking. They have probably the best parking of any coffee house, if you will, or maybe even some of the other restaurants or retailers there in downtown. Got to meet Mojeev, the owner, lovely guy. And there's 2 stories there, too. So there's a lot more space than one would believe, because it looks like an old house that was retrofitted. So, but it's great to see another small business in Waukesha, and another great option for coffee, and they serve food too. So yeah, so it's been, and I found time too to do some Christmas shopping as well, and that's one of my favorite things to do when a lot of work obligations are finished pretty much for the year, and I can focus on really having fun with the Christmas shopping. So looking forward to it. It's only a couple days away. One day away is Max's big day tomorrow. Max, tell us what we can expect on Letters to Santa.
So after a couple long months of production, we are finally ready for all 5 shows to go to air. Originally, we didn't know if we were going to get 5. It was actually 0 and then 2 for quite a long time. But starting at 9 a.m. on channels 10 and 36 tomorrow, it'll be the 51st official season of Letters to Santa. So we'll be in Santa's Magical Library, where our 2 librarian elves, Paige, who's the assistant, and then Dewey, fittingly named for the Dewey Decimal System,
nice.
Are the 2 elves, and we'll be reading some real-life stories, and obviously we will be reading Letters to Santa in the name of the show.
Nice.
And like I said, it'll start at 9 a.m. and they'll all air back to back. There's 5 episodes. The one that I personally worked on is episode 3. That's the episode that I was the producer of, but obviously all of us had a part in all of the shows, so.
And what time does that start again?
9 o'clock in the morning, so it'll be 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Sunday morning, December 22nd. Letters to Santa. And that's got to excite you as a. What year are you? First or second? You're a second year, right, at MATC?
Yes. So it's a 2-year program, and you do get one show to air during your first year on PBS for Student Ops Day. But that one you work with a group of your fellow students. Obviously, this year everything was still in a group, but like for Ops, we'll get to do our own individual shows this year. But yeah, this will be. Yeah, it's my second year, and this will be the second show that I've had aired on PBS.
That's exciting. Talk about a great portfolio or resume builder, especially for a young man, a young student like yourself.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I used my Ops Day last year because I really wanted to go into sports broadcasting. So we did it on the Wauwatosa Curling Club, and we just nominated that one for WBA awards. For their Student Excellent
nice.
Awards.
Congratulations.
And then this year we get to do what's known as a TV workshop series show. So this year I am hoping, well, don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil the show just yet. But I got confirmation that I will get to work with the Milwaukee Admirals.
Congratulations, Max. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
And I love
about
hockey, so we'll have to check out some games. How are we doing on time, friend?
We got a little over a minute left.
A little over a minute. Great. So when do you start working on that project with Admirals?
I finally had a phone call with them last week, but I will actually start to. Our first filming date is the day before my birthday on January 6th.
Okay. Terrific. So you have a little time to enjoy your Christmas break and then jump right into hockey.
That is the plan.
So, did you like hockey prior to this engagement with the Admirals?
A little bit. I don't think, like, out of all the top 5 like major American sports, it's probably not my favorite, but I do enjoy it once in a while.
Yeah, it is a great spectator sport. So, terrific. Well, we've got more here on This Week in Waukesha on this beautiful Saturday morning, December 21st, at 5:40 a.m. and the Civic Media app. And we're also taking your calls, especially if you have last-minute Christmas shopping ideas. We want to hear them.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
It's colder day by day. I miss you. The children will sing. He'll be back at Christmas time. In these frozen and silent nights, sometimes in a dream, you appear.
Hey, we're back on This Week in Waukesha. That's one of my favorite bands from the 80s, Pretenders, with 2,000 Miles. And Coldplay does an excellent cover of that song. And it's, as you can tell from the Pretenders, there's different instruments in it. Coldplay, it's just strictly piano. And there's kind of a background children choir voices. Beautiful song, both ways. So something to add. I had Pat Nettishine from Music Success on last week talking about favorite Christmas songs, and it was a fun conversation. And gosh, we could do a whole show on it. But Pat was supposed to have a Christmas party on Thursday, and he had to cancel because of the weather. Wanted to make sure everyone was safe at home or could get home from work, and so. But he's rescheduling starting in January on Thursday nights at the Music Success store on the what's called the Whammy red carpet stage. There'll be live music from local bands, and so it'll be fun. And then they're also going to have a party. To reschedule this now from a holiday party, it's now more of a love party because it's right around Valentine's Day. So more information on that. So, and cart requests are due if you need a new garbage or recycling cart. With the city switch to John's Disposal at the end of March, eligible residents that have carts will now receive new carts. If you don't take any action, eligible households will automatically receive the standard size carts, 64 gallons for garbage, 96 for recycling. But if you prefer a different size, you must make your selection with the city by December 30th. So you can visit the city website. There's an additional $75 exchange fee if you want to change cart sizes. So, and with the holidays, with a lot of gifts, comes a lot of ripped up wrapping paper and packaging and all the things. And so we urge everyone to recycle and recycle right. And this is from the city of Waukesha. What you can put in your recycle bin includes empty cardboard and paper boxes, catalogs. Are those still around? Who still remembers the Sears catalog? Paper greeting cards. No electronic musical cards. Keep that in mind. Cartons, including empty eggnog cartons. Time for some eggnog. Wrapping paper tubes. And, of course, normal recyclables. Please do not put in your recycling bin wrapping paper. That goes in the garbage. Bows or ribbons. Christmas lights. Bubble wrap. Styrofoam. And plastic bags. So, also be aware of home cooking fires or their potential. They are the number one cause of home fires and home fire-related injuries. In fact, 30% of all home fires start in the kitchen. So our Waukesha Fire Department wants you to enjoy the holiday season, of course, and to follow these tips. Keep cooking areas and appliances clean. Built-up grease can cause fires. Keep children and pets at least 3 feet from the stove, and that gives you a good opportunity. My other colleague here is our dog Popsicle, but he's still sleeping on the couch. Wow. So usually by this time there's enough walkers, both walking people and people walking dogs, and he always greets them with some really loud, scary barks. So yeah, it's a constant effort to keep Popsicle away from our stove. Keep flammable objects, dish towels, pot holders, etc., away from the stovetop. Turn pot handles inward to prevent them being bumped or grabbed by children or pets. Wear short-sleeved shirts or close-fitting clothes when cooking. Dangling clothes can easily catch fire. Stay alert and never leave cooking food unattended. So, another important announcement here from the city that I'm very pleased to share is running for office. There's still time. Springfield elections will be held for the following aldermanic districts: 1, 4, 5, 8, 9, 11, 12, 14, and 15. Any interested candidates can pick up a packet of information at the clerk's office or view the materials online. The deadline for filing campaign registration statements, declarations of candidacy, and nomination papers is 5 p.m. on Tuesday, January 7th, 2025, which means you have a little more time than previous years because usually it was like January 2nd. And if you're running for alderman, You only need 20 signatures. That's all you need. So you can do it between Christmas and New Year's. So if you want to serve, if you want to make a difference in this city, check your aldermanic maps. They are available, or find out if you know who your alder is and you feel you can challenge him or her for the seat, or you feel you've got a better platform or a greater willingness to serve. Check it out. And I'm always available too to answer questions about what it takes to be an alderman and what an alder, and what's involved. And I will tell you, there's opportunities to serve beyond what's on the job description and to make a difference in your neighborhoods and in the city. So please check that out. Max, okay, we're down to our last minute here. So we've got another hour of fun. That includes Pete Schwaba talking movies and shows. Triple G with the Carol Minute, and I think Sam D'Amico may be calling in. To be fair to Sam, he works the third shift at Myers, so he may still be working, or he may be pretty darn tired. But anyway, hope to hear from him as well in the next hour here on This Week in Waukesha on WAUK, 540 AM, and the Civic Media app.
He's gone 2,000 miles. It's very far. The snow's falling down. Gets colder day by day. I miss you.
Well, I'm coming face to face with my conscience, coming to an understanding of myself. Clear out all the old cobwebs, clean out the old books from the shelf. Well, this song's inspired by a good man and his Jew.
December 21st, 2024. If it's 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, it's time for This Week in Waukesha, Hour 2 on WAUK 540 AM. I am the unsinkable Don Brown, joining you live and local on this beautiful Saturday morning. Here from the office of former Alderman Don Paul Brown in my beloved Banting Park neighborhood. I'm, of course, joined by my producer, the mighty Max Martinson, at the WAUK studios all the way down in Radio Park on Victory Avenue. And I'm feeling pretty victorious as we head into the holidays. 4 days away from Christmas. 4 days away from Hanukkah for our Jewish friends and neighbors. And, of course, wishing everybody the very best season's greetings and all the best tidings of the season. And in this hour, we will be joined later on by Pete Schwaba, host of Nite, here on WAUK and Civic Media, Mondays through Fridays, 6 to 8. And Pete gives you a lot of great information on movies, shows, entertainment. Has some wonderful guests. I still remember, Max, you might remember, back in the fall he had Charo on. And I say this, Matt, because she was doing shows in your native Baraboo, and great to see that Charo is still going. You know, she was big in the 70s. So, Max, how are you this morning?
I'm doing okay. It's been a little bit of a rough week because honestly, I'm a little bored with not having stuff to work on right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Careful what you wish for.
Well, I mean, it's like you get out of school and you're like, because I've been working nonstop for the last 3-4 months, like
Sure.
depending on which class it's for, just different projects. A lot of times we had 2 or 3 projects going on at the same time. And then
Right.
you get to the end of the semester. I finished up my last segment for MATC Now back a couple weeks ago. And then I wrapped up Santa couple weeks ago, and now it's just like, okay, what's next? But there's nothing right now to work on until workshop shows, which I won't have to work on until after Christmas. So
Sure. Well, what you need to work on now is just relaxing and getting some rest, right?
it's hard. It's a
catching
hard
up?
transition because it's
Yeah.
like I didn't really get to ease into it. It was just like, okay, we have this to
Sure.
work on, this to work on, this to work on, and stop.
Yeah. But you've got presents to buy, right? Mom, dad, siblings, friends.
I got
Loved ones?
gifts. We got.
Yeah. And that's always fun.
And I'm going to California week after my birthday. So
When's your birthday?
January 7th. So I won't be
January
here
7th,
for
great.
the January 11th show.
Got it. Okay. We'll make sure we've got someone in place for you. But where in California are you going?
I am visiting my best friend in Ojai, California. It's about 45 minutes north of Ventura, kind of up in the mountains.
Okay. Terrific. Well, that's a great time of year to be out of Milwaukee, that's for sure, out of the north.
That is the plan, yes.
So, well, terrific. But here, it's still the holidays, and we had an early white Christmas on Thursday with some snowfall, and it was beautiful, but it was also maybe a little too much for local traffic that I know many events, parties, and the like were canceled. So, and I understand that we may have a green Christmas this year, which I'm not really excited about because it's gotten colder since it stopped snowing. And you can definitely feel the bite. But it's never too cold to take a stroll through the city's Walk of Lights along the riverfront in downtown Waukesha. That'll continue to shine in every night through the end of January. So I think that's a great tradition that the city started. I believe it was either last year or the year before. But I'm really glad that they have that. We'll have some more city news to report on, as well as some local news and sports. I know we got some more basketball scores to catch up on. As we mentioned, the Blackshirts of South were victorious over, you can see, Arch, crosstown rivals Waukesha West, 52-49 at West. So a great road victory. And Coach Lee Montez was on in the first hour to give some highlights on last night's victory, as well as projections for the season, and a lot to look forward there too. So, but we'll be giving you some other local scores. We were supposed to have Sam D'Amico, a candidate for school board, call in, but as I mentioned, Sam works the third shift at Myers. So, fair play to him. You know, if he forgot or was just too tired. He's working hard. He works the third shift so he can focus on his political career and many years ahead for the 18-year-old Sam D'Amico. So, but again, we do hope to hear from him. So, want to give a big shout out to Rick in New Berlin. He texted me, and I apologize for any of the feedback you're getting, whether it's on the radio or on the Civic Media app. I know Max is working on it with some of our best people to see what we can do to fix that. But Rick will be celebrating a reunion party he had for his restaurant in New Berlin that was an anchor in that community for more than 20 years, from the early 70s to the early mid-90s. And they'll be gathering later today at a local New Berlin establishment. So it's neat that people honor our local history and those things, all the fond memories that are still dear to us. So we also have Triple G coming up in the next segment to give us the Carroll Minute, give you some highlights of what's going on at Carroll, and also a catch-up on Corby's Last Roar. For those regular listeners, last November, I think it was the 16th, we had interim dean Ron Gulata of the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee at Waukesha, who, as everyone knows, is closing in the summer of 2025. after 58 years of service to our community. And Ron and some guests that included former and current staff are talking about a big event they're doing in May called Corby's Last Roar. It's a Thursday in May. I believe it's the 25th. We'll get the correct date. But he reached out to me yesterday and said that they are have some more updates for us, an updated Facebook page, as well as some other announcements and opportunities for people to participate. I know it's a long way off, but the event will include festivities, food, beverage, different types of entertainment, presentations. I thought I heard fireworks in there, maybe, but a great way to celebrate a college that has made an impact on the Waukesha community. Many alumni had gone on to do great things here in Waukesha, and including one former mayor. And so we look forward to providing you with more updates as they come in from Dean Gulata and anyone else. So we're taking your calls today on the Civic Media app. We want to know what you're doing for the holidays and any last-minute Christmas shopping ideas that you have. So, also another announcement from the city, they're hiring. There's a part-time assistant city attorney. They're looking for a building attendant. Let's see here. Building maintenance, a plumber. City clerk. Dispatcher. Drop-off center monitor. Engineers 1 and 2. Equipment operator. Facilities and construction manager. Grounds maintenance. Patrol officer. Security guard. And more. In Max, I understand that Triple G Greg Wansnyder is on hold. I know we have him coming on in the next segment, but I guess we can have him on early and continue on through to talk Carroll Minute. Does that work for you, Max?
Sounds good to me.
Hey.
Triple G, how are you this morning?
I am well. How are you, Don?
Very well, thanks.
Well, good.
What's on your mind?
Well, Carroll's men's basketball team is doing very well as well. So we'll jump into the Carroll Minute, and if you need to stop me for the break,
we'll continue into the next segment, yeah.
Yeah.
Got 2 minutes now. Go ahead.
Yeah, Carroll men and women won yesterday. Carroll is playing in Miami, Florida. I know, Welcome to Miami. It makes me think of that song. I was
going to say the Cruisin' Classic in Fort Lauderdale. Boy, they really got it rough.
Yes, I know, but they won 73-72. So I'm really excited about that.
They play at noon today too against Widener University.
They play at noon. Yes, the last game of the Cruisin' Classic. Yes.
Nice.
Yes. So. So yeah, that's pretty cool, and a lot of other cool things happening at Carroll. Do we want to? And I'm excited.
Yeah, why don't you let's put a pin in that, Triple G. Got some bills to pay here, but more on the Carroll Minute from my good friend Greg Wansnyder, as well as a few tidbits from yours truly. Here on this beautiful Saturday morning, December 21st, this week in Waukesha on WAUK 540 AM. And we're taking your calls in the Civic Media app.
Rainstorms ain't nothing to mess with, but I can't feel a drip on the strip. It's a trip. Ladies half dressed, full of your quip, and they be screaming out. So I'm thinking I'ma scoop me something hot in this South Summer rain gate melt.
Pardon. Do you know where is the office of the purser?
You must mean the bursar's office.
Oui, purser.
I was thinking of taking French, but it's my first year. Have you ever seen Le Tour de France?
No.
No, mon Dieu. The French riders, they're the best. Anquitel, Poladois. Hiya, big shot! Bonjour, papa!
Hey, we're back in This Week in Waukesha, in the middle of the Carol Minute. And no, that is not the Carol fight song. That's the Indiana University fight song that appears in the final scene of one of my favorite movies, Breaking Away from 1979, a low-budget movie that hit it big at the Oscars and included future stars Dennis Quaid and Daniel Stern. For all you Home Alone fans, Daniel Stern was the tall bad guy alongside Joe Pesci. But I'm surprised the number of people have not seen Breaking Away. Have to see it. But that's an ode to the Hoosiers after an amazing football season. They're probably their first 11-win season in their entire school history. Unfortunately, they fell short. Lost to Notre Dame at Notre Dame last night. A classic battle of Indiana rivals and a tale of two cities. Of course, Notre Dame has that fabled tradition of many winning seasons, 11 national championships. And Indiana has the most losses of any major college football team, as they reported in last night's game. And even though I'm Irish Catholic, I was rooting for the Hoosiers as also a Big Ten, a Spartan alumnus. And really, overall, just wanted to see a good game. And Notre Dame brought it. Indiana had some moments, but fell short. But enough about them. Triple G's been waiting patiently. Greg, let's finish this conversation about the men's basketball team, and then let's hear some more what's going on at Carroll.
Yeah, so men's basketball actually, I think, might have some players from Indiana. So,
Sure.
Because at Carroll we recruit from all over. But
Sure do.
yeah, so 73-72 big win against UMass Dartmouth last night. So yeah, definitely a school I've never heard of. But I've heard of Dartmouth, but didn't
in the Ivy
didn't
League,
know
yeah.
that they had such a
And we've
good
heard of
men's
UMass.
basketball team. Yeah, there were several lead changes in this game, and finally Carroll just came away with it in a buzzer beater, so 73-72. So, and Carroll's women's team is doing. By the way, Carroll men are unfortunately 0-3 in the CCIW conference, but
Okay.
hopefully they're winning ways. That was their first loss after losing like 6 in a row. So,
Okay.
hopefully that's better. We've got some cool things happening at Carroll, Don, right now. We've got on February 7th, we're having speaking of basketball and women's sports, and we're having a Toast to Pioneer Women. We are actually not hosting it on our campus, but that's going to be at Raised Grain Brewing Company, February 7th.
I had dinner at Raised Grain last night. I'm glad you mentioned that. It was lovely. Great fish fry. And if you like milk stouts,
awesome.
get the Utterly Perfect. I had the brown ale first. That was outstanding. The Utterly Perfect rocks. If you're a stout guy like me, try out the milk stout called Utterly Perfect at Raised Grain. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Greg. Continue.
Not really a drinker, but that would be up my alley if I was. So February 7th is our Toast to pioneer women at Raised Brain Brewing Company. Don, if you can also let me say, just really quick, while the Christmas lights are still up, you guys have to go drive past Carroll and see all the Christmas trees lit up and all the, different Christmas lights we have around campus. Tim from our physical plant is the guy that does all the lighting. So if you have not driven past Carroll yet, you need to do that. Don, I'm sure you've driven past Carroll a little bit.
I have, yeah. It is lovely.
Some of the, yeah. So props to Tim and all the people from a physical plant that do that. The other thing we have right now, which I'm pretty excited about, we're going through our campaign called Opening Doors on Bright Street. And we're building, Don, I don't think I've talked about this on here before. We're building affinity houses on Wright Street for our different student groups that may need those spaces, like our LGBTQ. So LGBTQ is going to have their own house. And we've already opened that up, actually. And we're having a Casa house for our Spanish and Latin American students, and we have several different houses in the works, including, Don, and this is my favorite thing, a coffee shop, so that'll be operated by the business students at Carroll. So I'm really, really, really excited about those opportunities. And if people want to donate to that, it's not too late. You can go to carrollu.edu and find out more information. Our Giving Tuesday was such a success, by the way, I want to say. So thanks to all the people that gave. And Don, as far as my holidays, I'm just going to rest easy. I've got a few weeks off of work now. So I've got some doctor's appointments to take care of and some different other things. But I'm just going to kind of, hopefully it'll warm up by next weekend. It's supposed to be in the 50s. So we'll see what the Civic Media meteorologist.
Spring break at Christmas.
Have to say about that, but I'm really excited about just spending some time. Don, hopefully you and I will be able to see each other. It's been
we'll try to put it on the calendar. We'll text after the show. And hey, Greg, I want to thank so much for your contributions to the Carroll Minute, and I'd like to wrap up the Carroll Minute by acknowledging the Piles of the Week. Aaron Wofford of the men's basketball team, who was honored after coming back from a long recovery from an injury last season. Canned a three-pointer in his last game. And then Emily Wisner, who was the leading scorer in a dominating 85-58 win over North Central last Saturday. She had 21 points, 8 of 15 shooting, also recording a rebound and 2 assists. Made a three-pointer in that game and converted all 3 free throws. So much more here. Pete Schwaba's on next to talk about Christmas movies and other new releases here in This Week in Waukesha on WAUK 540 AM and the Civic Media app.
Down Georgia Street Arcade, where the poor children play, gathering up charity to help them make their day. For me, I was once their age. Once I was young, but I know I had my family to fall back on. Pretty lights on the tree, I'm watching them shine.
We're back on This Week in Waukesha, and what you're listening to is a Christmas time busk that's organized every year in Dublin to raise money for the homeless by one of my favorite musicians, Glenn Hansard, who will be playing the Riverside Theater on July 25th. Hoping I can catch him again. And Bono is in on that from U2, and they usually get some other artists. And that'd be a fun tradition to start in Waukesha, a downtown bus to raise money for those in need. And I really need some Pete Schwaba. How about you, Max? Is he ready? Pete, are you there?
How's it going, buddy?
Pete, how are you?
Hey, good. You got me, Don?
I gotcha, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I'm calling over the app as directed, so I hope you can hear me okay. So,
I love it.
Great to be with you.
We
buddy.
sure
How
can,
are you?
yeah. Yeah, same here. Great to have you. So we're going to talk movies. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Pardon me. I think this is gonna sound kind of boring. It's a Wonderful Life to me. It's by far.
Yes,
my favorite
me
Christmas
too.
movie. Yeah, and I don't want to get cute. I don't like a lot of the newer films, but I do have some other favorites. But by far and away, it's just nothing says Christmas. Whether it's the spirit, the beautiful scenery, the setting, I just saw this thing, and I talked about it on my show last night, all these interesting facts about It's a Wonderful Life that I never knew. So I always find out more cool stuff about the movie, too.
Same here. Yeah. So, Pete, as you know, I'm a native of Western New York. In that story, even though Bedford Falls is a fictional town, it takes place in upstate New York. If you remember, the auditor came from Elmira, wanted to get back home for Christmas dinner. Harry's wife, Dad's owned a glass factory in Buffalo, and of course Sam Wainwright and a lot of the other high school alums went off to New York City. So I always appreciated those small town values in those communities. You see a lot of that in Wisconsin too, very much the same. And what I also found out recently was that Jimmy Stewart served in the war, was a fighter pilot, and he suffered from PTSD. Yeah. So that scene, the couple of them, he's shaking at home in front of the kids before he loses his mind. And then when he's at Martini's, you see him praying, and he's like shaking and crying. That was authentic. He was actually going through a PTSD moment because he was trying to be in character, and like that just kicked in. So what you saw was authentic post-war PTSD from a veteran who happens to be one of the greatest actors of his generation, maybe of all time.
Yeah, it's funny, Don. This article I read, it said that he didn't think he was ready to be in a movie yet because he had just returned home, and he took the role reluctantly. And my favorite scene in the whole film, and I didn't see the movie till I was like 21 years old, it is, I think, in that scene you're talking about where he was shaking and he's hugging his daughter. And he's so scared because he's lost everything. I mean, you just see it. It's so authentic. And that makes total sense now, what you said. I also read that they almost cast Cary Grant in that role, who I think would have been totally wrong.
Yeah, agreed. He might have been a good Harry Bailey, but they had the right guy for that part too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
There's that one, and then there's also Scrooge, the Christmas Carol with Alistair Sim. No other version comes close. Forget George C. Scott. Forget Patrick Stewart. Maybe the cartoon character. What was his name? Mr. Magoo. Maybe might come close. But
right.
That was a tradition in our family. That was always on TV on Christmas Eve. We grew up near the Canadian border, and the CBC station in Hamilton always played. And it was black and white, so the first half of the movie is like a horror movie because it's so scary. And in a way it is, because it's this guy's like selfish evil just resonates. Did you ever see that one?
I don't know. I probably have, but I have not seen any of the Scrooged films or Scrooge films in a long time. I will say, when I was a kid, Don, I used to go to A Christmas Carol in Milwaukee. My family would take us up there from Chicago. Yeah, and that stuck with me. Like, that is still my favorite production of A Christmas Carol that I've ever seen. And they still do it there in Milwaukee, which I think is so cool. The other film I'll say is Trading Places, a very underrated.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
To me, it's more of a Christmas film than Die Hard, and people consider Die Hard a Christmas film, believe it or not. But yeah, Trading Places just kind of came back on my radar, and I'm like, this is a great story. I mean, it takes place at Christmas, but also just the lessons learned and the friendship. It's a great movie.
And a great education on how the futures industry works, too. In all seriousness.
Right. Exactly.
I was working for a marketing firm in downtown Chicago. Pete and I are both, we lived in Chicago for many years. And I was recruiting a futures firm, which I successfully recruited. I was really proud. And I remember the business manager for the agency who worked in that industry. He's like, remember the movie Trading Places? And that actually helped you understand how the futures industry works. Margin call, gentlemen. You don't make those trades. You own that coffee or oranges. I guess in this case it was orange, whatever it was.
Oranges.
There's
right.
a vault sitting out there somewhere. You got to go and take that. Or in this case, if you can't afford it, they seize your property and everything.
I still don't understand how that industry works. I worked at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange for a summer as a runner.
The Merc.
Then I worked at the Board of Trade. When I first started doing stand-up, working at the Board of Trade as a runner was my day job. No clue. Like, they're all just shouting and yelling, and I don't think they do it like that anymore. But even with Trading Places, that movie helped me get a sense of what was going on in my day job. But I still had no idea. It's very complicated stuff.
It is still very. They give you a simplified version of it, and certainly some of it makes sense. Like that part of it made it interesting, but the Christmas aspect of it was cool. I'm glad you mentioned that.
It was great. Yeah. Yeah.
You also said there's some new movies come out, not necessarily Christmas related, but timely with Christmas. Tell us what's hot or what you recommend.
Yeah. Pardon me. Well, there's some really good films out right now. Like, if people haven't seen Wicked, Moana 2, Gladiator 2, I really liked Wicked. I thought it was great. Now, I had never seen the stage show or seen it on Broadway, Don, but I thought the movie was really terrific. Ariana Grande is hilarious in it. Cynthia Erivo is really good. They're both great singers, obviously. And the story moves along. It was just I liked it a lot more. I thought I'd like it. But I liked it even more than I thought I would. Gladiator 2, it was okay, but I felt like it was a retread of the first one with Russell Crowe. It seemed like more of an homage to that film. I know Moana 2 has raked it into the box office. I have not seen that, but this weekend in particular, there's some great films opening up, especially if you want to take the kids to see films. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, with Jim Carrey and Keanu Reeves, is in the theaters, and it's reviewing well. It's pulling like a 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. And then King Mufasa opens up this weekend, not reviewing quite as well, but it's part of the Lion King, family, and that one is getting pretty good reviews. There's another film called The Fire Inside, which is about a young female boxer from Flint, Michigan, and she is the first one to ever win a gold medal at the Olympics. Also, family friendly.
That's a true story?
I think that's rated. Pardon me. Yes, and I think it's family friendly too. I believe it's rated PG, and it's getting like a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Another good one.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if you can wait till Christmas Day, you've got Nosferatu opens, if you like a little creepy with your Christmas. That opens December 25th, as well as A Complete Unknown with Timothée Chalamet, and there's all kinds of Oscar buzz around that movie and around. Pardon?
Yeah. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, that opens Christmas Day as well. So some really kind of different, it's a nice assortment of films opening this weekend and over Christmas, which I think should keep people going to the theaters. And they're all reviewing really well. Like, this is, to me, I haven't seen this in several months where all the big films coming out are getting good reviews, and there's just a nice array of films out there right now.
That's great. That's exciting to have those options, especially now that we've got pretty much the entire family home, and we like our movies. So, and I know there's a big interest in seeing Wicked. So I think that's terrific. So
yeah, it's a fun
Max, how are we
film.
doing on
Now,
time?
they say
Okay, 3 minutes. Oh, good, we got time. So, but
they
Pete, I wanted to return real quick. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. I was just going to say there was a bit of a controversy with Wicked with people singing in the theater during the movie, singing along because it's already so popular because of the stage show.
Sure.
And people were singing in the theaters, and a lot of places don't like that, at least when I sing. But a lot of places kind of didn't like that. So they're going to have a special tour of the film where people can stand up and sing to their heart's content. So there you go.
That's clever. So some of the theaters are doing that?
Yeah,
Is that
well,
like a separate
I don't
venue?
know if it started, but it's like a compromise because some people are like, hey, I'd rather hear the professionals. And other people are like, hey, I should be able to sing. I paid for the ticket. But where I go to the movies, people act like you're in their living room anyway. They chomp food and they talk like no one else is in the theater. So kind of the same vibe, only better singing, you know.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea, especially if the demand is there and you think of these big movie houses like the Marcus Theater, they would make an extra room that's just dedicated for the singers, the amateur singers.
Absolutely, yeah.
So make a social aspect out of it too. You know, maybe people meet their future spouses at Wicked, the tour.
Right, they sang together, and that's how it all started. Every couple has a great story about how they met, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So, hey, what's the Schwaba family doing for Christmas this year? We have the whole gang there?
Yeah, I love that you know my sister Julie. You guys work together. Was it the Davis Street Fish Market in Evanston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She put a great photo on Facebook, too. She's doing a lot of great
Don,
stuff with her photography.
Yeah, I think you were the first guy, pardon me, that had me on the show to promote Nite when I first started. So the fact that you knew my sister and helped me out from the get-go was so cool. And I think we're forever BFFs because of that, at least in my book. But
absolutely, yeah. I need to reach out to her too. So because she's back in Wisconsin, right?
She lives 100 feet from me, Don. Yeah, it's
nice.
We live. I never thought that would happen again, but we lived close together in LA, and now she's our neighbor here in Wisconsin, so it's kind of fun. But yeah, no, we're all getting together, and my kids will be home, just like the Browns, and very much looking forward. Tonight we're going to see a staple in Green Bay. Frank Hermans has a show every year called Frank's Christmas from Let Me Be Frank Productions. He's just an absolute Northeast Wisconsin institution. So we're going to go see that show tonight. So that'll be our first family adventure. I love Christmas, so it's great to have the family home. I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
It sure is. Yeah, the Schwabas and the Browns are big families. I'm the youngest of 10. You're like the second or third of like 6 or 7?
I'm the oldest of 5.
Oldest
but
of 5.
My mom and dad did that thing where they had like 5 kids in 6 years. So we don't have the biggest big family.
We had 10 kids in 10 years, just about, or 11, 12, yeah.
Oh, my God.
But 2 sets of Irish twins, yeah. So mom and dad were
Christmas
busy during the 50s and 60s. So, craziness. But anyway, we have more with Pete Schwaba here after the break on This Week in Waukesha on WUK 540 AM as we talk about more favorite Christmas movies and holiday rites.
But it's not like Christmas at all. Shepherd on the hillside, where over my flock I abide. On a cold winter night, a band of angels sing. In a dream I heard a voice say, fear not, come rejoice. It's the end of the beginning, praise a newborn King. Our little baby boy, bring the people so much
Hey, we're back on This Week in Waukesha, WUK 540 AM, and I'm joined by Pete Schwaba, host of Nite, Lite, that appears here in WAUK, and I believe most, if not all, the civic media stations, Monday through Friday from 6 to 8. And Pete's going to give you the scoop on the latest movies, TV shows, entertainment. He has great guests, many of whom with Wisconsin connections, and a great way to keep up on all the fun things and going on here throughout the state. And Pete, you mentioned one of the favorite Christmas traditions in your family was commuting all the way down to Milwaukee from Marinette for A Christmas Carol on stage, and that, of course, was your favorite version. You also said your other favorite movie, which is mine, is It's a Wonderful Life. And I don't know if you knew this, but during COVID, our civic media here in Waukesha did a radio show broadcast of It's a Wonderful Life, and had some great success. And I just thought it was a wonderful concept during COVID when a lot of things were still shut down. I thought it was a great creative treatment of a Christmas classic.
It was great. I mean, all throughout COVID, people doing these things to keep their sanity. And actually, what came out of it, I think, was a lot of good. I was talking to one of my guests the other night about, it was actually James Maloff, who's another member of our civic media team here from Wisconsin Rapids. Right. And he said, living in a town like Wisconsin Rapids, you could actually audition for stuff because of Zoom. Like, Zoom became so popular during COVID.
Yeah.
That it helped people in more remote areas like myself, who lives in Marinette now, to still kind of keep their name out there. And you're right. Like, there were so many great productions. People reading It's a Wonderful Life or reading the script to, I remember they did a reading of The Princess Bride, phenomenal movie, with the cast. And, but I would, that kind of stuff, like, I've become fascinated by old time radio, I would say, in the last few years, and how that was it. That's how you listen to sports. That's how you got your entertainment. Like, I just think it's such a great throwback and so much fun to kind of follow those things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Another Christmas tradition or classic is, now that everybody's streaming, is CBS's Charlie Brown Christmas special.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact there was a lot of controversy about Charles Schultz, the Peanuts creator, having that scene where Linus reads from the gospel from St. Luke, and they didn't want anything religious, and Schultz wouldn't budge. And it turned out to be very well received, because that was like in 1964. And then, of course, now it's one of the most beloved Christmas specials.
Yeah, and that's such a great moment in the show. Like, I mean, look, I was raised Catholic. I haven't been to church in quite a while, but so I'm not going to tell people what to be. I'm not going to tell people what to be offended by and what not to be offended by, because it's such a subjective thing. But to me personally, just that moment where this kid takes the bull by the horns and gives this speech.
Yeah,
I just thought it was a great
moment.
This
is what Christmas is all about.
For that reason, almost regardless of what he's saying. But love Peanuts Christmas, and I grew up kind of reading those books, not just the holiday stuff, but we had a whole encyclopedia of Charlie Brown books. So, and I got to play Charlie Brown in a high school musical, so I have a serious affinity for that character and those stories. Yeah, it was great.
We didn't appreciate this as kids because it was fairly new to us, but that was the first cartoon of its kind with children's characters having real issues, even grown-up issues.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't all happy-go-lucky and all that. And in that Christmas special, Charlie is just disillusioned by the commercialization of Christmas, the problems he's having with the play, and the tree that he picked out, and then Linus reads from St. Luke, and everything comes together. And what I also learned recently is when he drops his blanket, his whoopee, which was Linus's signature, he drops it right when he says, "Fear not." When the angels tell the shepherds, hear, tidings of great joy, yada, yada, yada. So many great things.
That's hilarious. I never noticed that. That's great. Don, I laughed when you just called Charlie Brown Charlie. With no Brown at the end.
Oh, yeah. Chuck. I should have,
yeah.
That's Peppermint Patty. You called him, I should have called him Chuck, yeah.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Right.
Charlie.
Right.
He was the man.
And I have not watched that this year, but I'll check it out because I would love to see that moment.
Yeah, I'm going to have to make the family watch it again. But anyway, we're running short on time. Pete, I want to thank, Pete's going around the clock here, so I appreciate you getting up very early in the morning to spend this Saturday with us. I wish you and the rest of the Schwabas a Merry Christmas. Be sure to say hi to Julie. Let her know I'll be reaching out to her. Stick around, everybody. James Santel is next with Atticus, as I call it, a law review. We're wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas, a happy Hanukkah to our Jewish friends, and happy holidays to all who worship in different ways. Season greetings. Please remember, especially during this holiday season, that safety is everyone's responsibility. Good mental health is everyone's right. Parental alienation is a crime. Here in Waukesha, there are no strangers, only friends who have not yet met. So be sure to reach out to all your neighbors this Christmas, wishing them well. Go Ramila Mahagav Goler, Nelagahana Huit, and see ya!
Came to pass, he was born at last, right below the star that shines on high. Our little baby boy, bring the people so much joy. Son of a carpenter, Mary carried the light. This must be Christmas, must be tonight.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.